This podcast is brought to you by Flipper, a marketplace to buy and sell websites, stores, and digital real estate. Plot your own path. Become a boss by buying a small online business at Flipper. Simply visit flipper.com/techtalks for a free consultation and 50% off fees. That's FLIPPA, flipper.com/techtalks. If you do visit, let me know how you get on. But now, let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where every day I beam your ears to a different part of the world and talk to a tech leader. And I've got to say that two countries in particular seem to be shining at the moment, because we have Israel, who call themselves the startup nation, and also Estonia, which is where I want to go today. Because Ott Vatter, Managing Director of eResidency at Estonia, is going to join me on the podcast. And Estonia's government, I'm not sure how many of you will know this, but Estonia's government has created a first of its kind program called e-Residency, which lets users set up electronic residency in the country. But it's doing far more than just making headlines around the world, because it's also allowing small businesses who never dreamed it was possible to work in the international business community to do just that. And Estonia is a member of the EU. So he's going to join me on the podcast today to speak about all the benefits of e-residency and the popularity that it's brought to this small country, and how the program hooks up users with its lauded transparent business environment and then allows members to do business in the EU without all the regular hassle. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Estonia, where Ott Vatter, Managing Director of eResidency in Estonia, is waiting to speak with us today. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, hello from sunny Estonia. My name is Ott Vatter, and I am the Managing Director for eResidency. And eResidency is a governmental program which enables non-nationals of Estonia to apply for a digital identity. And with that digital identity, the main benefactor is that you can create a virtual company from anywhere in the world that is located in Estonia, meaning the European Union. And I've been working for the government for now more than 5 years, almost 6 years. And before that, I was in the startup scene and consulting scene and a bit of everything here and there, but focused on digital development and for the benefit of my own country at the moment.
I did speak with Seem Sicker on here a few weeks ago and was blown away by how Estonia has embraced technology. But for anyone that did miss that conversation, can I ask that you just set the scene and tell me a little bit more about how you've digitally transformed your country?
It's difficult to say that the perceptions of people are quite different in a way that when people hear or read about Estonia is quite often referenced as the blockchain nation or the country fully running on cloud, which is a nice way to phrase things. But what does it actually mean, right?
Yeah.
So to set the scene, I would say that the main difference in Estonia compared to other countries is just that we are quite small, and after the Soviet Union collapsed, we had to kind of figure out quite creative ways to get our economy back on the feet. And one of the ways was actually information technology development, and to provide internet access to schools and actually teach our kids at an early age the benefits or the kind of long-term positive ramifications of coding. And today, one of the main backbones of the Estonian kind of IT is the digital identity, what I'm working on. for non-nationals, but for our own citizens, we have the ID card. So every person is identified with a kind of unique code, which allows you to communicate with the government effortlessly, basically from anywhere in the world. So we transact with our government and our private services using our digital identity. So we don't have to stand in long queues when we go voting or paying our taxes or go to the bank. So we can do everything from the comfort of our homes or even, abroad. And that's really the kind of, main pillar of the development here, that we save time, money, resources. And we are happy to kind of provide the same experience and knowledge to others.
And I'm curious, how did you educate the nation and just ensure that nobody gets left behind because of their age or financial situation, and change their perception of tech, just to make sure that no one's afraid of those kind of changes?
Well, there are always people who are and will be afraid of changes, but there always has to be an opportunity to do things on paper as well. So we can't really discriminate, and we can't say that, now you have to do this, or you have to own a computer, or you have to own a tablet. That's not what we can do. But mostly, coming out of the different age where you had to spend a lot of time and money, it's just easier. So we get people on board because they understand the benefits. So the main benefit is that it's comfortable. Of course, we had our own campaigns and trainings as well. I remember a few cases where in department stores, for example, you had these stands where you could introduce digital identity. Hey, come here, and we'll show you how to log into the bank using this marvelous new technology that we have. And a lot of people were quite skeptical at first, even though some of the politicians were very skeptical at first. And it didn't take off immediately. So I think it takes a lot of time, and you can raise the awareness when the service is comfortable.
And one of the reasons I was excited to get you on the podcast today is the Estonian government has also created a first-of-its-kind program called e-Residency, which I believe lets users set up an electronic residency in the country. But can you tell me a little bit more about that initiative?
The name e-Residency might be a tad bit confusing because it refers to some kind of residency, which is actually a physical status or a physical thing. But what it is, in essence, is a virtual identity. So you can actually verify you or authenticate yourself through the Estonian government with that identity. So you claim, who you are, and you upload a fair bit of documents, and the Estonian police will do a background check and then will verify your identity. And with that identity or that card, you can now participate in a whole new ecosystem. And the main kind of benefit for that is the company creation in European Union. So we use this technology as citizens of Estonia daily. So we can't really imagine our lives without it. I mean, I like to say that it's kind of a key to my house, and if I lose the key, then I'm homeless. I can't really do anything. I can't log into my company account or my bank account, or I can't change my address, or I can't register the birth of my child, which I would like to do in a normal case. But with e-Residency, this is available for non-nationals. So this is a program for everyone. As we had the digital identity program already in place for more than 15 years, we decided why not to replicate the same model for non-nationals. And that has proven to be quite successful, as the program is nearly 6 years old, with 70,000 e-residents registering about 13,000 companies to the Estonian economy.
And I also believe that Pope Francis is a member. I mean, is that right? And if it is, can you expand on that and how he's using it?
Yes, you are correct. He's an e-resident. It was given to the Pope by our president in a state visit to the Vatican. Though, in all honesty, I don't know that the Pope would have a company in Estonia, providing any kind of services as a freelancer. But as we don't have as this personal information, and we don't have it, so I can't say it. Maybe he actually transacts with some kind of services or company. But there are a lot of famous e-residents actually. So we have Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan. We had Angela Merkel. We had a few, even Obama. Though, they are more of, let's say, these loud voices that help us to promote our digital nation and the importance of a digital identity and society than actual company owners. Though you never know. Shinzo Abe, actually, the Japanese Prime Minister, in a press conference said that he would like to, when he retires, he would like to open up an Estonian company and start importing chocolate to Japan.
Love it. It's a great story. I've had countless emails from listeners over the last few weeks talking about their fears and concerns around job security, while also seeing their interest rates on their savings drop considerably. And as a result, many are beginning to look at how they can invest in their future in an uncertain time. Could digital assets be the answer? Now, you might remember that I spoke to Blake Hutchinson, CEO at Flipper, on episode 1194 about how to buy digital assets and websites. In a nutshell, Flipper is a marketplace that you can buy and sell websites, stores and digital real estate that are just ready to go. So if you do have dreams of running your own successful online business, or perhaps you're looking to exit your existing online business, my friends at Flipper can help you buy and sell. So if you're interested and want to find out more, please visit flipper.com/tech talks. That's FLIPPA.com/tech talks for a free consultation and also 50% off all fees. But now, back to the interview. For any other small businesses out there or a founder that's listening to this podcast that has never dreamt that it was possible to work in an international business community, can you tell me a little bit more about how the whole process works?
Right. I mean, the world is changing, and you are very, very right to say that some time ago, people or companies wouldn't have even dreamt of having this international business community and registering your company in another jurisdiction and benefiting from it. But the world is changing, and there is more and more freelancers. People today don't work for the same company for 50 years. They're traveling around more, and they're becoming more freelancing, or more freelancers that work for different kind of companies, and the sectors could change also after a few years. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to offer a platform for this kind of new global entrepreneurship, and you shouldn't be bound by the borders of the citizenship that you have, but we believe that the governments and countries will start to compete for the best citizens. So how this actually works is that we have an online application platform where anyone who has a passport or identification document can apply. They pay a state fee of 100 euros and go through a background check. And after, you must have one physical meeting with the representative of the Estonian government, so that's usually in the embassy, and you are issued the document. Now, this is a national document, which is the highest security form in terms of EU regulation, which means that you have to have a physical meeting. That is where we actually verify that you are who you claim to be. And once you have received or gone through that process, you are free to use the digital services here in Estonia and mainly business creation.
You're so right in what you say there, and how the world is changing now, completely different to what it was before. And I think it's amazing how you're leading the way here. But for any people working at governments anywhere in the world, what advice would you give to other governments about helping to build business and the importance of updating those legacy governmental processes, which are for the most part very often stuck in the past?
I do think that the current complicated situation, the COVID crisis, has fueled the kind of understanding of what Estonia had been trying to communicate for the past X number of years, that it is important to digitize your government services. It will become, it will be more efficient for your government. It will become comfortable for your citizens, and you would need to do that anyway in order to stay competitive with the rest of the countries or the rest of the world. So I guess the advantage point for us has been our size and the few historical moments that helped us, push towards this gravital change. But my main recommendation would be not to be afraid of these changes, because the earlier you start, the earlier you will get there, and the other governments or countries would have the privilege of learning from our mistakes, because not everything has been perfect. It's a kind of pioneer's way of doing things, which means that the first road is always covered with the most roadblocks, and we have gone through it already. So we are happy to help provide our knowledge and know-how to others as well.
And speaking of those roadblocks, what would you say have been your biggest challenges when creating this digital first nation? And can you expand how it actually became a cornerstone of Estonia's identity too?
Well, one of the biggest challenges in the early days was definitely motivation by the politicians or the citizens or taxpayers in general, because nobody had done it before. So now I'm speaking about the early days of the digital identity, the ID card that we have. Nobody actually had any example to look towards. So we didn't know exactly how this would play out. And the investment needed for that was quite significant at that time. And, when we actually decided to create this program and launch the ID card, then there were no services. You couldn't use this card for anything besides, offline physical identification. It was just after a couple of years that the banks were the first ones to actually start providing services. And then, gradually it was kind of a chicken and egg problem where gradual services started to come up, and you would actually see, the value of this digital identity. And, 15 years later, we can't really imagine our life without it. And the same with e-Residency, which is the similar program, but for non-nationals. We had no example to look at. So we were creating something completely new. We're creating a new economic model for Estonia because it had never existed before. And of course, the main obstacles there were how to actually distribute or issue the documents. So we figured out that we'll use our existing embassy network, but our existing embassy network is a bit limited to historic treaties and agreements, and also international banking or international tax laws, which actually come from from a long time and are not adequate in today's modern world.
And it does feel like that in Estonia, you're streets ahead of the rest of the world, especially governments and how they're operating. But I've got to ask, where do you go from here? What's next for Estonia?
I think the picture always, is that grass is greener on the other side. I wouldn't say that, Estonia is such a perfect poster child of a digital nation. We've done some things right, but I wouldn't say that the others haven't. The longer-term vision for us is that we need to stay competitive for the best citizens. In case of e-Residency, the best companies. Nobody today is serving for these the kind of freelancers where they would actually have the ability to work legally. So, for example, these digital nomads and freelancers today work on a tourist visa and spend their winters in sunny Southeast Asia. Technically speaking, or practically speaking, that's illegal. So we are coming up with a new visa program in Estonia called the Digital Nomad Visa, which should help these people to actually have a legal base of working remotely and providing this kind of service-based model. So we believe that countries have to stay competitive and find new business verticals and new kind of ways of helping people become borderless. I guess that should describe the underlying future vision.
I love that, the digital nomad visa, because there is more and more digital nomads now that are not location dependent and can work anywhere, isn't there?
it's growing immensely. So again, referencing to the COVID crisis, this has just fueled the kind of change. People are not going to work for the same long career, and they are traveling around more, and they like to spend their winters in warm places. And freelancing as a trend is definitely growing, and there should be, or there could be, governments and countries who are thinking of addressing that kind of growing trend.
And for anyone listening that would like to find out more information about the e-Residency or the digital nomad visa there, can you just point them in the best direction of finding you online, and equally the best way of contacting your team if they've got any questions?
Absolutely. So the best way to reach us would be through our website, eresident.gov.ee. And we're about to launch a landing page dedicated to the digital nomad visa, which will actually be launched tomorrow. Surprise, surprise, 1st of July. And you can always get in touch with our team. So we are quite operative in providing any kind of information. And check out e-Residency. It's not for everyone, of course, but it might be a solution if you're a freelancer and you have international customers.
Love it. I've absolutely loved chatting with you there, especially how in this world where we are traveling more and being able to just work from a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection with our own small business, especially freelancers such as myself. And just love how you allow members to do business in the EU without all the regular hassle that goes with that. So more than anything, just a big thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
What a great story. And I love how it got its start for the export of Estonian services. But 5 years in, and it's now benefiting companies all over the world. So I cannot thank Ott enough for coming on the podcast today and discussing not only the success, but also the challenges of creating a digital first nation and how it became a cornerstone of Estonia's identity. I also think there was so much value in advising how governments can actually help build business and the importance of updating those legacy governmental processes. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Anything at all, any takeaways, simply email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or visit my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. So much food for thought in today's episode, especially around that e-Residency and that digital nomad visa. I quite like the idea of going where the sunshine is and never seeing a winter again and just working from a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. I just need to work out how to have a portable podcast set up. But that's what I'm going to take away today. Let me know what you are. But more than anything, just a big thank you for taking the time to tune into this podcast every day. I appreciate you all more than you know. So I'll see you all again bright and early tomorrow. But until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.